Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Welcome to the Southern California Prep Insider Baseball Podcast. Tommy and Les here. We are live in the third round, of the Division I playoffs. We got some games to break down, don't we, Les?
Yeah, man, this is just, it's hitting crunch time, right? I mean, with 7 games left before we decide a champion here, this is really exciting, man. Quarterfinals are set. Looking forward to some good games here Friday, and then, of course, one game on Saturday. But man, next week's going to be awesome.
All right, here we go, starting with Cypress and Bishop Amat.
Hey, raise your hand if you had Amat versus Cypress in the quarterfinals of D1 playoffs. Go ahead, I'll wait. All right. This is one of the unlikeliest of matchups at this stage in the playoffs, but both teams are deserving to be here, obviously. Amat went on the road and shut out a pretty streaky Valencia team that had knocked off number 1 Harvard Westlake. Cypress, they've won in a walk-off fashion, in shutout fashion. I mean, what else can you say? I mean, they seem to have done it all here. Cypress will likely have Cal State Fullerton commit Cameron Rapetti on the mound. Talked to Coach Weber this morning. He said that that's a pretty good probability. The offense for the Centurions has been really good in big situations of late. Amat is getting it done on the mound at the plate, led by Blake Archuleta, who we've talked about quite a bit. Let's not sleep on Steven Loera, though. He's put together a really nice season on the mound for Amat. He gets the home game in this one, which is pretty big. Both coaches are really familiar with each other going back to Joe Hockett's days at Canyon High School. In the end, though, I think Cypress might have the depth on the mound that will help them get to the semi. Someone go with the Centurions here.
I agree. I'm going to go Cypress. Josh Landry, I want to give him a shout-out. He had that 1-8 complete game shutout. Amat had Archuleta pitch and then Loria close. I think they'll probably, with the innings, they can flip them for this game if they want to and have one of them start and have Archuleta close. But I just don't think that the arms there for Amat are there. Again, great season put up by Bishop Amat anyway. Next, we got Foothills at Etiwanda.
Yeah, Foothill went on the road and beat defending 1 champs El Toro behind a big home run from junior Kyle Ashworth, who was peaking at the right time for the Knights. Etiwanda, man, they got a big win yesterday against La Mirada and their ace, Jared Jones. They won 3-1. La Mirada scored a run in the 7th, so it wasn't even really that close. This will be the first road game of the playoffs for Etiwanda, though, who played just yesterday rather than Tuesday because of their graduation. How will they respond to one last day to prepare, having to go on the road, all these factors? They're the defending D2 champions. They'll likely trot out Duke commit Marcus Johnson. Foothill, meanwhile, is a senior-laden team, the exception of Ashworth. They appear to be on a mission, man, and this one's at home. The Knights believe this is their year, make a run. And I think I agree with them, so I'm going to go with Foothill at home this one.
I'm going to go with Etiwanda. They're hitting .357 as a team so far this year, and that's just production at the plate, kind of intimidating coming in. They got, as you mentioned, 8 runs in the last game, so I expect more offensive production out of Etiwanda. Next, it is Gar at Orange Lutheran.
Yeah, these two teams are really familiar with each other. They play a whole bunch during the fall, and they've met in the regular season before, last year's Boris Classic. 2 really good coaches, Gerardo Perez at Gar, Blue. Perez has just done a remarkable job with this program, which has produced a ton of collegiate players. He's got 3 or 4 D1 commits on his roster this year. Borba's done the same thing since taking over at Olu. Cole Wynn, who's expected to be a first-round pick in less than 2 weeks, will start for the Lancers, while Gar will be playing their first night game of the season. Game was moved to Saturday night, to accommodate a request by the Gar coaching staff, who one of the coaches lost his father, so they'll have funeral services on Friday. That sort of thing has a tendency to rally teams together. The Gladiators are going to need that facing win. Gar has the talent to pull this one out here, but it certainly won't be easy. Olu has not made it past the quarterfinals under head coach Borba in his tenure. However, I think with Wynn on the mound, being his usual dominant self, and in front of what should be a pretty frenzied crowd on a Saturday night of a long weekend, I'm looking for Olu to advance to the semis in this one.
They say when Cole's on the mound, you'll normally win. Hilarious. I'm going to Orange Lutheran too. That was a great pun I just made. Please pretend to laugh less. Just a little fake chuckle at least.
Hey man, I got you, brother.
Nothing against Gar. Also, I want to give a shout out to Delvin Gomez, who had a big hit. Bottom of the 6th, 2 outs for the Gladiators, getting the win the last round. But I got Orange Lutheran in this one. Again, when you're going against a first-round pick, it's a little bit tough.
I'm gonna assume you made that one up on the fly, so that deserves some credit.
Final game. Definitely didn't think of that last night and then put it in my notes. Did not think of that at all. Final game in Division I is going to be Dos Pueblos at Capistrano Valley.
This is another one of those, unlikeliest of quarterfinal matchups, having Capo Valley against Dos Pueblos. Both teams coming off a walk-off win to advance at this point. Capo Valley defeated a pretty good South Hills team 3-2 on an RBI single by senior Josh Solomon, who's headed to Columbia next year. Meanwhile, Dos Pueblos got a huge grand slam in the bottom of the seventh by Evan Kling to wipe out a 5-0 deficit in Ty Huntington Beach before winning in the eighth inning. These two teams appear, I hate to use the cliche, but they're kind of like teams of destiny, right? Capo Valley is playing for their head coach, who's legendary Bob Zamora in his 41st season. He's got a senior-laden team focused on the big prize. Dos Pueblos, they got to make that 162-mile trek from Goleta down to San Juan Capistrano in what could be a 4 to 5 hour bus ride, given LA traffic. Because of all those factors, man, I'm going to go with Capo Valley to move and advance to face the winner of Olu and Gar in the semis.
I got another one for you. When you're making that long drive all the way down from Dos Pueblos, to stay awake, you'll probably need some coffee. Isaac Coffee. He only threw one inning in the last game against Huntington Beach. Should be ready to go for this one. He is Mr. Do Everything for them, so having him on the mound gives me a lot of confidence and enough confidence to pick them even after the long bus ride, even though I am a huge believer in the bus ride affecting the way a team plays. I've got Dos Pueblos. That is it for Division I. Les, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, man, just check us out, prepbaseballreport.com/California, on Twitter @PBR_California, and on Instagram @PBR California. We're rolling out a MLB draft spotlight every day leading up to the draft, which is June 4th. Starts June 4th. Today's feature is Cameron Guangarena from Bosco. We got about 4 or 5 other ones already loaded up, and we got a handful more coming your way. Just a lot of content coming out. Be sure to check us out on Twitter @PBR_California.
And I'm sure the draft will be a very calm, nothing to do day for you. There's no way you'll be freaking out on Twitter or anything like that, right?
No, not at all. It should be a pretty easy day for us.
All right, we will see you all after this round, into the next round, and throughout the whole playoffs. Until next time, watch your baseball.